U.S. Capitol Police forces are ramping up security because of a new possible threat. A senior law enforcement official tells NBC News that the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI sent a joint intelligence bulletin to state and local law enforcement yesterday, warning that some extremist groups have, quote, discussed plans to take control of the U.S. Capitol and remove Democratic lawmakers on or about March 4th. The bulletin also states that domestic violent extremists have continued perception of election fraud and other conspiracy theories associated with a presidential transition, which may contribute to domestic violent extremists mobilizing to violence with little or no warning. Capitol Police put out a statement yesterday saying the department is aware of and prepared for any potential threats.
So I accurately predicted the violence on January 6th. The only thing I was wrong on is I was expecting more violence that actually occurred. So prediction again with this, I'm not really concerned about violence today or in the coming days. There certainly will be violence eventually in terms of more of the same that we've seen, perhaps with a little bit of escalation. So meaning, we've had these shootings and things like that. There's going to be more of that, I'm sure. And again, that's going to be increasing. But in terms of a specific threat right now, of course, I can't know. I'm not a FBI agent or something. And I guess considering how the FBI has been really, that's a whole other video. So I don't know if making that comment is even really relevant, saying I'm not FBI, because apparently I was more informed than the FBI on the January 6th attack. So there's that. But anyway, here's the bottom line. The people who would most likely strike today or the next following days, they require somebody like Donald Trump to be able to operate. So the reason that I was able to predict the attack on the 6th is because I feel like I have an understanding of who these people are and how they operate. And the 6th was prime time. In fact, as I mentioned in previous videos, I would be shocked if we didn't have any foreign agents in the Capitol on that day. Now, I have no evidence to suggest that. I'm not trying to push out a conspiracy theory here based on nothing. That is pure speculation. That's purely my opinion. I'm basing that just on if you're a foreign agent and you're definitely spying on us and you're looking to attack us or something, Donald Trump and this MAGA movement and the QAnon movement, I mean, man, those are you got to be an idiot to not see the tremendous opportunities that they represent. I mean, of course, Antifa as well, but certainly on this particular date, they were great opportunities. So basically, I mean, the idea of it'd be pretty easy to join these groups, these MAGA groups or some of these militia groups or whatever, as a foreign agent, and go to the event. And while these, regular people are just fumbling around, you execute on your mission. You planting, listening devices or any number of things, right? There could also be things you could compromise the network. I mean, that's just, and that was so easy. The ability to get in there and do what you need to do in terms of the risk level, I think, as a trained agent, I think it'd be well worth the effort. Let's put it that way. So with that being said, the way that these people operate, they need Donald Trump, somebody like him, because a big part of the strategy is the crowd. And you see this with Antifa as well, where they go to these big protest events where there's lots of people, strength in numbers, they blend in and they use the crowd as a shield. So event on the 6th was supposed to be just at the Capitol. They weren't allowed to march. I mean, just at the other location. They weren't supposed to march to the Capitol. Donald Trump was the one who pushed them towards the Capitol, and by doing so, he opened the door to that operation. In short, if the crowd did not march to the Capitol probably would not have been attacked, because you can't just go and attack our Capitol. And you see, they didn't really have heavy artillery in general. They didn't have a sufficient numbers and weapons to be able to take on the Capitol Police. The key element that they utilized was the crowd, right? So all these MAGA people in general, that was required. So Trump needed to push them to the Capitol for that to happen. So that being said, you don't get the numbers. There's no major events planned. The type of people, again, the category of people who would do an attack today or tomorrow or something like that, they are the types who use these kinds of strategies. So they're not going to go out on their own and attack the Capitol on a day like today. Now, if there was a major event happening today, like some kind of protest, absolutely. But otherwise, no. Now, are there people who would be able to go and attack the Capitol? Certainly. I don't think they would. I mean, I was going to say I don't think they would succeed, but the amount of blood that would be spilled before the whole operation is over. I mean, we had 5 people on that day in the Capitol attack. It could make that easily look like a great day. So yes, it would be very bloody, but ultimately, from what I've seen, right? I'm not a terrorism expert. I don't see that we have the types of groups that have the capability and means to be able to take on the Capitol and win. They can do a lot of damage, a lot of death, a lot of people get killed, but I don't think they would win. The people who I think would be the biggest threat, who don't need the crowd, and they exist. These are the people who might bomb a building or something. They're not. They're at a higher level. I don't want to elevate them, to some kind of superstar status, but they're at least more sophisticated to the point where they're not going to attack on a day where you're expecting it, right? And that's not a huge like, man, these guys are like Navy SEALs. No, but they're just a little bit more clever to the point where they would come at an unexpected time. That's again purely opinion. I don't know these people. I'm not a terrorism expert, but from what I've seen, from what I've observed, I think the kind of people who would do an attack on their own, they're not letting you know. If they're planning something and the date comes out, they're gonna reschedule it because they know they're this is a crazy kind of mission, right? So you want everything in your favor, and art of war, man, right? Surprise is a major tactic when it comes to these types of things. You don't have surprise right now, right? So to strike now, you would have to be really, really low on the totem pole in terms of, just real amateur hour. And again, these guys are not necessarily best of the best or super sharp, but they're sharp enough to know better than to attack on a day when people are expecting you. So these are the guys that I'm sure they're going to do something. Again, I don't have any specific information. This is just logical extrapolation. So, I would say, if I were to guess, 2 months from now, 3 months from now, maybe next summer, something like that. I definitely wouldn't be surprised if we see something this year, maybe next year. There's a lot of tension building up, and that's ultimately probably going to be the outcome at some point. But I don't see it happening now. So not really worried about today. All this stuff, and it's crazy. When the real threat was coming, I you know, saw the writing on the wall, and I recognize the threat. Somehow our government didn't. They didn't prepare themselves. They didn't do what they needed to do for whatever reason. The FBI is just looking worse and worse every day, not answering questions. I mean, yeah. And now we have a threat which I don't think is going to amount to anything. And I'm guessing they're a lot more prepared now. So they weren't prepared for the real deal, but for the noise, they are prepared. But the question will be when the next real deal comes up, which again, I think it will be a random thing, will they be prepared then? I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in it. But I don't see it being now. I don't think now is the time that we're going to see something like that. Just extrapolating based on previous attacks and also just where we're at right now, who's doing what happened at the Capitol, what kind of dialogue is out there. So this is the Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell, and be well.